Alright guys, so here is, I guess you could call it part 2 of the swap video. And I just wanted to show you guys a quick little pointer slash tip. I actually use these dollies that you can get from like Walmart, Lowe's, Harbor Freight. It's a really generic dolly that they have all different kinds of brands, but 1,000 pound capacity. They don't do the best at supporting some of these engines. You can see where it's starting to bow, and I've actually put like blocks of wood to kind of help with that. On the other one over here, I actually stapled or nailed in wood because it was like it basically broke the dolly. So on these heavier engines, it's not the best. It's a big cast iron block and everything, and it is a giant inline six, so they weigh a lot. But for like the 4-cylinder engine and stuff, these engines fit like amazingly perfect, like the inline fours. So if you ever need like a portable way to kind of move your engine around, these things work really good because you can actually like roll your engine. I mean, they're still heavy, but see, I can roll the engine around. I'll just have this little strap right here, which is actually barely even holding it, to make sure it doesn't fall over in the dolly. But we have a new Zeddy clutch right here. This is not a like stage 2 or stage 3 or anything. It's just considered to be like a high performance Zeddy clutch, and it almost seems like it's kind of like remanufactured in some ways, but it's new clutch and flywheel, so that should be really awesome. It's a 240 millimeter. And as far as I know, with this transmission over here, this should be a 280Z transmission. I'm actually going to need to put a different throwout bearing, which actually isn't even on here right now. This is just, there's no throwout bearing, there's no clutch fork in here or anything, but I have them. They're just not on there currently, but yeah, this is like a late 280Z transmission. It could be a ZX, but I believe it's just a Z one. I've actually never used it before, but my old transmission was like totally shot, so giving this one a try. Cleaned it up really well. Could have done a little bit more with it, but just using some basic like brake parts cleaner and degreaser, got it pretty clean. So yeah, just there's my quick pointer, but I got the cherry picker here set up and ready to, well, lift this engine up and hopefully plant it in there. Alright, so we are hooked up. We're, like I said, on the half-ton version, which is, 1,000 pounds. This engine only weighs like 4 or something, I believe. I could be totally wrong on that, but I know it's definitely not 1,000. So it just uses a basic, really tall ram jack or bottle jack, and we are going to start lifting this bad boy up. Obviously, make sure you got your pins in there, otherwise this thing would just fall over instantly. As far as mounting points go, a lot of these cars from the factories will still have brackets for the actual engine hoist, which is kind of crazy. But so far, every Z engine or even like the L series engine I've worked on, they usually had these brackets. I mean, I have had to move them back and forth between some of the engines, where like one might have been missing one of them for some reason, or one might have been in a weird spot, and I feel like taking it off. But yeah, for some reason, I don't know if most engine companies do this, but most of the L series engines I've messed with have had these brackets. Even the car in my Roadster, the engine in my Roadster over here, the 67 actually, the R16 even had them on it. So yeah, sometimes they just leave them there, I guess, or maybe I just got lucky and happened to have this, happen to me a lot. But yeah, I got a long ways to lift this because I need to actually clear the radiator support up top here, which, yeah, it's pretty tall. I mean, it's about, I would say, like up to my waist here. So yeah, we got to lift it pretty high to get it over. Hopefully this engine's not like much taller. You can adjust it here by pulling the chain linkage up. I got it about as high as it'll go. You could obviously put these mounting points lower on the engine somewhere, but I was able to get the old L out, which is this guy right over here, and that wasn't a problem, which I actually need to do something with that. If anybody is interested, I am probably going to sell this eventually. It's an L28. Alright, so now we're at the actual stage of trying to get this engine in here. So the main issue you're pretty much always going to run into with any of the L series engines is the engine bays are long because they're an L. They're an inline engine, so they go straight. Not like a standard V engine or anything considerably like that, or boxer engine where the engine bays are typically small. So I'm typically always bottomed out against something. In this case is the air dam, or it's usually the bumper, which this time I removed. So you can see not only is the engine in here sideways, but it's only like a quarter of the way where it needs to be. But the good news is this is way easier if you have a friend too. Normally I'd have my buddy Hunter over here helping me, but he wasn't available at the moment. So you can actually move these engines by hand while they're on here. I'm not going to sit here and say I highly recommend doing that because you are moving like a 600-pound object above your possibly prized possession, and more importantly, you're putting yourself in a slight risk, But at the moment, I actually have my 4-post lift basically sitting on top of the legs here, so this lift is not moving at all. But just to give you an idea of what I'm going to go for here, I'm going to kind of slowly lower the engine by hand, I guess you could say. By using this right here, I can slowly release the pressure, and that'll in turn put the engine more forwards as it lowers. In that case, I'll rotate the engine as I do it. I'm not going to be able to really record myself doing this, but just to kind of give you guys a basic idea, make sure you have these guys on, make sure your mounts are in there, and you should be good to go. Also, make sure you don't have these here because they're going to end up flying forwards when something hits them. Yeah, the biggest thing though, the more stuff you have moved out of the way, the easier this engine swap's going to be. So let's go ahead and drop this in there. Well, we got the engine basically in. It's not like mounted properly right now, as you can tell by the nice gangster lean we got going here. I don't think the hood would quite close over that, but the biggest obstacle, and this is obviously with engine swapping like 101, as I told you guys, make sure you get as much out of the way as you can. This charge pipe was like a huge pain in the butt. I ended up having to take off the ignition coil, and then this wiring was like just all up in the way. But as you can see, it does clear and everything. Right now it is sitting on the engine mounts. I just have, like, this is a horrible idea. Don't do that. I just didn't want to cross thread that guy in there. Couldn't tell if it was or not. And I'm not trying to actually do everything tonight. I was just kind of getting the engine in here so that it was out of my way, because now I can actually pull my Roadster back into the garage once I get this bolted in, of course, back under the Z. I have just enough room to where I can pull my Roadster under the Z. And my Roadster, like I said, is in really good shape, and I don't want it to start rusting like this poor baby did. So yeah, we just have 2 bolts holding it right now. One thing you will have to do if you don't have the transmission bolted in, you're going to need something back here, because this engine's naturally just not balanced up front. You can see the engine mount's like way more towards the front than it is the back, not to mention there's all this weight in the back with the flywheel and all that stuff, and the crankshaft being, more weighted towards the back and everything. So yeah, make sure you put some wood or something like that in between the firewall and the head or the valve cover, and you'll be good to go on that, so that the engine won't like just do a full 360 flip backwards. But yeah, honestly though, I'm already liking how it's looking. I mean, it's dirty, but I mean, look at that Nissan Turbo just chilling right in there and ready to be hooked up and driven, But I have shaved off a lot of the stuff in the valve, or sorry, not the valve cover, the intake body there. So to kind of go over some of the stuff I took off, basically anything involving cold start, I have gotten rid of. I made my own block-off plates for everything. You can see right here that just took a bolt that I put some, there's a copper gasket on it, and then some RTV. This little guy here needs to be plugged off. This is like a check valve for the intake. I got this plugged off and made a block-off plate for, I don't even honestly remember what this even was. It's like one of the auxiliary air valves, or actually, sorry, the auxiliary air valve was right here, that actually allowed coolant to be put into it, and then it was like an air bypass for the idle when the car was first warming up. It also had coolant going into it, and then coolant would go on top of the throttle body there to help the car warm up quicker in the wintertime. As I said, I don't plan on driving this car in the winter at all. I've already gotten rid of all the AC stuff. This car was a factory AC car, and the AC actually did work when I got it, but then everything like went out on it, and tons of stuff needed to be replaced, and I just wasn't having it. Like I said, it's an old car, and don't get me wrong, old cars deserve love too, but I'm perfectly fine driving in the hot summers. That's why you got windows for, I love having the windows down anyways. So yeah, I got all that stuff removed. Any of like the quick warm-up stuff and everything's out of here. The EGR is also out of here. Made a stainless steel block-off plate from that, from actually a stainless steel MagnaFlow muffler. So thanks for that as well. We got a block-off plate for, I don't even remember what was there anymore, but that's gone as well. Like I said, I took a lot of this stuff off like months ago. I made the block-off plates when I'd planned on doing this swap in the summertime and never got everything I needed for it, but just recently, like I said, I got the motivation back and bought some stuff. Made the block-off plate for the fuel pump. I believe that's what it would have gone there, was a mechanical fuel pump. Obviously, this car cannot use one, but they used a similar head design, and so they always still had a spot for the mechanical fuel pump, which normally these would have a block-off plate. I don't know if maybe this one was just missing, but I obviously made one for it, and I'm not sure why. There might have been something else there, too. I honestly don't remember, as I said. Here's the distributor plug that you will need for the turbo style car, especially for it to work with the Mega Squirt module. You can see this distributor cap's like ginormous, and that's one of the ways you can tell that this is a ZX distributor. In fact, the mounting's a lot different, like the pedestal. This one uses screws instead of like a little clips, which I'll show you guys real quick. I think I still have it in this one. Yeah, so little distributor right here. You can see the wires are a lot closer together. We have two leads coming off of it that you can basically hook up to anything to help with the Hall effect sensor. But as I was saying earlier before my phone died, this engine right here is an L28. It had almost 200,000 miles on it. The head and everything had been redone on it. Still the original block and everything, but there is a new head gasket on it, new valve seals and everything. So I mean, it's still a good engine, but if I'm being honest, it does need to be rebuilt. There wasn't any knocking or anything, but one of the cylinders had a little bit lower compression than the others. And I believe one or two of the piston oil rings are also leaking oil, or well, sorry, not leaking oil, but letting oil into the combustion process. Because, I had pretty decent compression along all cylinders. I even did a leak down test on it, and everything came back pretty good on that, except for the fact that we were still burning oil for some reason. And so the only conclusion I came to is that the piston oil rings are just tired and worn out. The main two rings, as far as holding the pressure in, were still good, but the oil rings, I'm assuming, are bad. That's the only thing I could really conclusively come up with. But yeah, it actually even had a new gasket put on it for the I cannot remember the name, oil pan. The oil pan had a new gasket put on not that long ago, and you can already see it already had a little bit of oil coming back out of it, or this is residual, but I'm assuming it's oil coming back out of it, just because once you have any type of compression leaking into the compression leaking in the combustion process. Once you have any compression leaking down into the oil area, like the crankshaft area, that's a lot of times you'll end up blowing out these gaskets again, and that's probably why we're seeing some oil from here. Like I said, this engine's just tired. It was a really good engine though. I mean, I loved this thing. I had it at 150K, and my goodness, it just ran so strong. I mean, for this thing being not a light car, but also not a heavy car, it seriously felt like it was the fastest car I just ever ridden in when I first started driving, because I got this when I was 15. So as soon as I had my license, I worked on it like every day since then, and there's not a whole lot to show for it besides some random like mods I did when I was younger. But I kind of learned on this car, and now I'm learning a lot more as I go through this turbo swapping process. So enough chit chat here. Like I said, we got the engine in, so we're at a really good point right now to go ahead and stop for the night before I end up start throwing tools across the shop. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this update. Like I told you, we're getting this engine in, and we got the engine in. So we will see you guys in the next update.